So we have our first look at the Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind attraction that's going to be opening very soon here at Disney California Adventure. So let's dive into all of that up next. Hi there Waltoneers, I'm Jack and this is of course DSNY Newscast from Disney California Adventure. And you know what, I had to get out here and experience Star Wars Galaxy's Edge firsthand for myself. So there's going to be a first impressions and kind of review from the land itself going up on DSNY Newscast in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, for today we've got an exciting update all about the Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind attraction. As it was back in November of 2017, this project was sort of semi-revealed as part of a grand reimagining of Paradise Pier into Pixar Pier. However, in June of 2018, we officially found out the name, Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, and received this brand new piece of concept art for this basic spinner ride on Pixar Pier. And at the time, the prospect of Inside Out getting some permanent representation within a Disney park was exciting. However, it did leave the community a little underwhelmed by the concept art. We've stated that this was always going to be a repurposed Flix Flyers from Bugs Land's ride system positioned on the former Maliboomer pad from Paradise Pier. But then we started to see the ride system reassembled within Disney California Adventure. And it's clear that despite all of that being true, this ride has really been plus far beyond what the concept art initially promised. And so now let's move on to our first look at the almost completed attraction, as it has now entered the test and adjust phase and should be opening very soon. Which does seem fairly obvious, as any time that you go onto Pixar Pier at the moment, it seems that the attraction is always in action, and so Disney are inching closer and closer to that final opening date, which is still not yet known. Now, Walt Disney Imagineering are still putting some finishing touches on the attraction's neighbourhood on Pixar Pier, but as we can see, joy, sadness and anger have all been installed around the ride area. But the marquee for the ride has changed quite a bit from that of the concept art, as this will surely become a favourite photo opportunity on the pier, although it does seem that some of the foliage and landscaping has been removed from the project, or perhaps it just hasn't been put into place as of yet. But here's the thing, as we can see that joy, sadness, anger and even disgust is represented around the headquarters area, but fear seems to be missing. And after examining the concept art as well, he does actually appear next to the signage near the queue, but maybe the figure simply hasn't been installed yet. However, the colourful character cabins do have the 5 main emotions, and in addition the Rainbow Unicorn, Subconscious Guards Frank and Dave, and of course Bing Bong as well. But where this attraction is really going to come to life is going to be at night time. As we can see here in these incredible new images from Disney Parks blog, that the memory orbs that can be found all the way around this attraction will light up and glow for a beautiful and colourful array of whirls and spins on this ride, which judging from these images, it's going to be absolutely spectacular on Pixar Pier, and it looks like it's just right out of a movie, although they will remain static and won't be circulating around the headquarters like from Inside Out. Now, the one concern that I have with regards to this attraction is the nearby sounds of the Incredicoaster, as Inside Out used very peaceful instrumental music within the movie, and there'll be 5 new tracks added to this attraction which have been composed by Michael Giacchino and customized to each one of the 5 emotions. But to be honest, I don't know how this will integrate with the Incredicoaster's high energy score as it goes racing by. But I have faith that Disney will have taken this into consideration before deciding upon this location for the Inside Out attraction. But here's the thing, as not every ride needs to be an ultra immersive dark ride or even a roller coaster, and sometimes a simple spinner is a charming way of offering a variety to a park's catalogue of attractions for all ages, and Disney California Adventure certainly does require this, as I could easily see the Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind becoming a must within DCA for families with infants and toddlers, similar to that of Dumbo the Flying Elephant in Disneyland. But in my opinion, with Inside Out making over $1 billion at the worldwide box office back in 2015, and with the numerous creative avenues that the concept of Inside Out showcased, personally feel that this would have been better suited to a different ride system that could harness the latest advancements in projection animated animatronics and maybe some 3D effects. And so something like Up might have been a better fit for a basic spinner attraction like this. However, there is still hope that we might receive more with Inside Out, as Disney parks do require variety, and so perhaps we'll see an Inside Out dark ride or a whole different type of attraction come to a different park around the world at a later stage. Although the one thing working against this idea is that the relatively new Chief Creative Officer of Pixar Animation Studios, Pete Docter, is apparently less focused on approving IP-based attractions and lands related to his own movies, unlike that of John Lasseter with Toy Story Land, A Bug's Land and Cars Land. And instead, Pete Docter is said to be geared towards making the best and most logical decision for that movie or ride, as he has a very brief history of working on Disney attractions such as the former Cranium Command. And that perfectly transitions us onto our next topic, as Pete Docter was of course the director that took us inside the mind, and now he'll be taking us on a new cinematic journey all about the soul. As yesterday we received our first synopsis on the second Pixar movie release of 2020, as Soul will arrive in theatres on June 19th, and asks the question, have you ever wondered where your passion, your dreams and your interests come from? What is it that makes you, you? And so in this new original Pixar movie, it will take us on a journey from the streets of New York City to the cosmic realms to discover the answer to life's most important questions, which is a pretty daring and daunting task that Pete Docter has taken on, and the exact kind of ambitious premise that Pixar was built upon. But here's the really exciting element of all of this, as Pixar's suburban fantasy adventure, Onward, and now this high concept idea of Soul, are the only movies that we know within Pixar's upcoming movie slate, with there being 3 more movies after that are all said to be originals instead of sequels to the previous Pixar movies, which is absolutely fantastic news not just for us moviegoers, but for us Disney park fans like myself, as with Disney moving more toward IP-driven attractions, at the very least we'll have a wider pool of creativity to draw from. However, despite Pixar's new direction, before that we're going to get another installment in the Toy Story franchise, which I am extremely excited for, as Toy Story 4 has been certified fresh with a 100% score by critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and is set to go to infinity and beyond with an estimated $260 million global opening weekend box office, which in comparison, The Incredibles 2, which went on to earn $1.2 billion worldwide, only received a $230 million opening weekend box office. So Toy Story 4 will most likely easily make over $1 billion and take the top spot for all Pixar movies. But more important than all of that is that the early reviews for this movie have it being ranked as not only one of the best Pixar movies ever made, or even the best movies of the year, but it's also vying for the best movies ever, as Tom Hanks has previously said. However, I'll definitely be sure to come back and give you my review of Toy Story 4 on Tuesday next week. But whilst we're talking about Pixar, the studio is also busy creating an exclusive TV series for Disney Plus, called Monsters at Work, which we now have our first look at the main character of Tyler Tuskman, who is a talented young mechanic on the Monsters Inc. facilities team, working alongside his idols of Mike and Sully around 6 months after the events of Monsters Inc., with the scare floor now being transformed into the laugh floor. But beyond the fact that Billy Crystal and John Goodman are set to reprise their roles, little more is known about this series, except that it will be debuting in 2020. Whereas also on Disney Plus, following in the footsteps of the popular new artistic direction of the Paul Rudish stylized Mickey Mouse shorts, Chip and Dale are going to get a whole new series of 7-minute shorts that looks to revitalize the duo for a whole new generation, which is great news for these beloved characters. And we have one last little tidbit for Disney Plus today, as Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige recently took to the stage and was captured showcasing this new logo and image from the Loki series that will be coming to Disney Plus, with this seeing Tom Hiddleston reprise his role as the God of Mischief. But we can now confirm that this series will span multiple events throughout human history, as we can see that this scene is set in 1975 when Jaws was first released into theatres, and so it seems that this Loki series is going to have the same importance placed upon it as that of the Star Wars The Mandalorian that will be available on Disney Plus when it launches on November 12th for $6.99 per month. But now, it's over to you, Walton, as I would like to know, out of the 3 Pete Docter Pixar-directed movies, which are Monsters Inc., Up and Inside Out, which out of those 3 movies would you most like to see turned into a true Disney dark ride at any one of the Disney parks? And in much the same way that Monsters Inc. is being turned into its own TV series with Monsters at Work on Disney Plus, then which other Pixar movie would you like to see get its own series on Disney+? And most importantly, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere within this video, along with your suggestion or your comment, to be in with a chance to win one of these official DSNY Newscast or Walt Disney enamel pins. And congratulations to this Walt Disney here for winning this suggestion from a previous video where we were talking all about the upcoming rumoured details of the Epcot Future World revamp. And so that's it for today. So go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel. Hit that notification icon so therefore you always receive an update whenever these videos come out on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And if you've enjoyed this video from both in Disneyland at Disney California Adventure and here in Walt Disney World, give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.